Come right back. Hello, and welcome back to Across the Aisle. We get politics from a different point of view. Once again, my name is Saquon Jones, and I'm joined by my co-panelists, Javier David, Heather Bachman, and Landon Days. Landon, we're going to conclude this last and final segment with you as we sort of go into 2011 and the new face of Congress, which you have a lot of Tea Party members. You have a lot. It's going to be a Republican House. What person you think, in your mind, stands out for you going forward within the next 2 to 4 years?
Dear Congress 112, my name is Landon Days. I'm a proud American. I'm a Democrat, but at this point, our country needs help. It's time for you guys to govern and stop squabbling over little things and partisanship. My question to you is, are you going to show your true patriotism and work for the American Joes, from the Javiers to the Heathers to the Landers or the Saquons, because America needs you. Now, Mr. Ron Paul, I know you're in the Senate. I know that you're a Tea Partier, but similar to Obama, you're going to realize that the ideology of change is not as easy as it is to govern. So, are you going to be able to really cut taxes? Is the Republican Party really going to allow you to cut the pork out of the budget? No. Because at the end of the day, as a legislator, your job is to bring money to your district. So my question to you is, are you going to buckle under your ideals? Are you going to buckle under what you believe in? Because at the end of the day, if you don't produce, you're not going to get reelected. So my question to you is, Mr. Paul, as a Tea Partier and the rest of the Tea Party, you're going to learn a quick lesson in politics. Money trumps everything. So what are you going to do in 2012? You can just become all like the rest of the Republicans and Democrats. You're going to probably bundle into special interests and put the money where your mouth is.
All right, well, that's your that was pretty powerful, Landon. I mean, you basically calling them out. I mean, but let's
highly disagree.
Let's keep it under the like. So Javier, who's the person that you feel like stands out for you going forward?
Allen West. I've met him twice. I think he's a brilliant, very promising politician. And I might be glowing as I'm sitting here talking about him because I have such great respect and admiration. A military man, a proud veteran, an excellent exemplar of what it means for leadership. I think he's one of two African-American Republicans who was elected to Congress. He joined, it should be said, the Congressional Black Caucus rather than attacking them or what have you. He's trying to make some changes from within, and he's been very complimentary made some very complimentary remarks about what he thinks they should be doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he's a very exciting figure, and I think you need to keep an eye on him.
All right, Heather, who stands out to you? We just keep it under one person.
No, I have to say that I disagree. I think the Tea Party candidates, although newbies in some respects, and I agree with Landon, they are not. Politics as usual is actually going to be a breath of fresh air that this nation really needs in its legislature, first of all. And I'm actually creating an advisory group with former and current legislators to make sure that they are ready to become everything else other than politics as usual. But personally, Michael Grimm. He's also a military man, former CIA operative.
Staten Island?
Staten Island. Yeah. He's absolutely incredible. Absolutely. He's actually got a great bipartisan perspective. He's got a great background in national security, which we definitely need right now,
Agreed.
as well as the economic situation as an independent businessman. And I really think that him, as well as Anne Marie Burkle and so many others that aren't politics as usual, will actually not only breathe a breath of fresh air, but also remind a lot of legislators of what they really are there for. Not just to bring money to the district, but to actually renew this nation from within.
All right, those are pretty passionate. I think that my person I look forward to seeing is actually Senator Scott Brown from Massachusetts. I think that in the last almost 8 months, he has been instrumental in a lot of the legislation that's gone past. I mean, he voted against the extension of unemployment, but then he voted for the START treaty. He's been that sort of that voice that's willing to go against his own party or be that middle party person over the last 8 months.
Until, of course, he takes a vote you don't like, in which case he's a right winger.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to take a vote. I'm just saying that in the Senate, he may be one of the individuals that President Obama may go to in order for and be embraced by in order for him to push legislation passed in the Senate. I mean, he's been one of the sort of purple senators, new purple senators. You look at Paul, he's one way. You look at Allen West,
that template was actually pioneered by John McCain, it should be said, and John McCain took a lot of heat for doing that. I'm a vigorous, very ardent supporter of his. I think he's an awesome public servant.
Which John McCain? The good
John
John McCain or
McCain,
the bad
the
John
John McCain, the whole picture.
The 1996
the whole,
John McCain
no,
or the
the
2006?
whole
Like,
picture, the
two
entire
di-
sum of
two
his
di- two di-
career.
two different
I
men.
think he's a very admirable person, and while I may not necessarily agree with everything he says or everything he does, I think he has always been the template of bipartisanship. It unfortunately, didn't get him anywhere. And when people saw what they wanted to see, they saw what they didn't like, they attacked him for it.
You know,
I
I have to disagree about Brown. You can be bipartisan, but you can also be indecisive. There are a lot of political pundits on both sides of the aisle that still haven't been able to, quote unquote, figure him out.
I mean, you don't have to necessarily. This is who I want to. This is who I feel is.
Because I haven't figured it out.
Let me finish. You know, I've watched his voting record like I've watched everybody else's voting record. I watched Democrats, I watched Independents, I watched Republicans. And I've watched him very strategically go back and forth. And I see him as being possibly bipartisan, but I also see him as being possibly indecisive and not being able to figure out which
That's
which
because
perspective
Heather.
is
That's
on.
because Heather. Time and time again, you show if you don't get 100% of what Heather Bachman wants, then that means nothing.
No.
So this is what we're talking about in terms of bipartisan. He's a compromise, and that's why I like him. I'm not saying I didn't say anything about Congressman Grimm. I mean, if that's your opinion, or if you like him, I didn't say anything about Congressman West or Senator Paul. I mean, I think that these people are dynamic people. This is my opinion on who I think that is going to be the person who I like to see in 2011. And just because he's willing to go.
I don't have a checklist of every legislator that I'm going to like. There are Democrats that I actually appreciate on some level.
I'm just saying that being bipartisan does not mean being indecisive.
There's one other person I want to mention, and I apologize if I say her name wrong. Senator from Alaska who won a write-in.
Lisa Murkowski.
Murkowski. I like her because she had an interview and she said something very simple. Regardless if you do not agree with the president, my job as a senator is to make sure we can get things done with the president. And we have to make sure that the right things are done. And I like that because that was the first time I heard some sensibility and understanding that we have
look,
to work.
Lisa Murkowski is a self-entitled politician who lost her primary and decided that the state just wouldn't be the same without her. Unless she was going to vote.
And she went with a write-in.
So she won a write-in, but she doesn't get any plaudits from anybody at this table for being the way the system works. The way the system works is you send for election, and if you get voted out, you go home. Good night, Irene. End of story.
And just
Lisa Murkowski decided that she was just too important to be deprived.
You didn't say it about Joe. That happened with Joe Lieberman. He lost his primary and went as an independent.
At the end of the day, though, the people of Alaska, the simple fact that she won in. The simple fact that she went in by a write-in, though, really does state that the people of Alaska wanted her. And it's so funny that Miller, who was so against government, so against the American government, wants to be in the American government so bad. So all I'm saying is I'm looking forward to her because I think she's going to be willing to work and do things that's going to help the country move forward. Because divided we fail, united we will do something good. All right?
I mean, we'll let you conclude with that, Heather, if you have anything else to say before we conclude this one. Are you okay? Or?
No, I'm fine. I believe Lisa Murkowski should not have gone independent. I think that she tarred not only...
independent. She went as a write-in.
Or I should say, should not have
Lieberman
stayed
went as
in the race.
She stayed as a write-in. That's the difference.
Should not have stayed in... I stand corrected. Should not have stayed in the race. I think that it definitely tarred her, not only her reputation, but also her name in many aspects. And I do not believe just one quote declares exactly what she's going to do, especially when it looks like when she goes into, oh, I'll step aside, to, oh, no, I'm going to be a write-in. And looking at the aspect of the supposed checklist I have, I do not have a checklist when it comes to legislators. Let me finish. I do not have a checklist when it comes to legislators that I appreciate or like. I want somebody.
You called the man indecisive. You called the man indecisive. You call Senator Bryce. You call Senator Brown indecisive.
The aftermath press releases and the aftermath quotes, there's still no understanding of exactly why
you called the man indecisive because he's willing to go across the aisle to vote for legislation that doesn't necessarily fit the agenda of the Republic.
He does not show his reasoning for his votes clearly.
Who does that? Name one senator who does that right now.
McCain.
McCain?
No,
Are you serious?
That's the worst example.
That's the worst example in the history of everybody. You picked the wrong person.
You could have used a million
other people.
15 other different.
All right, we're going to conclude with that final segment of Across the Aisle. We give you politics from a different point of view. On behalf of my co-panelists, Javier David, Heather Bachman, and Landon Days, I'm Saquon Jones, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Across the Aisle.